Hi there, this is Solitary Ronan from Solitary Ronan Films, and welcome to our Backlog cleared video. Today I have cleared my Deaf Crocodile back catalogue, and I am complete in Deaf Crocodile. I even have my Deaf Crocodile t-shirt on. Deaf Crocodile are a partner label of Vinegar Syndrome, and they're one of the labels that I have fallen for like a blind roofer. In 2023, Deaf Crocodile along with Radiance I think have really impressed me this year. Deaf Crocodile kind of specialises in some animation and kind of lost films or forgotten films. Pretty much most of these films I had never heard of, pretty much all of these films I'd never heard of until getting hooked on Deaf Crocodile. It's not just the slipcovers, because I'm not really that bothered about slipcovers, even though there are two films which I don't have the slipcover for, which is quite annoying. They don't have too many titles, 17, and there's an 18th coming out at the end of December, but they really have some eye-opening and wonderful films. And as my channel is a niche of a niche of a niche, it's fun to find labels like Deaf Crocodile, which is a niche of a niche of a niche of a niche. So some of these I've done random reviews on, quite a lot of them I've done random reviews on, but I'm just going to go through the titles and just give a brief description, because they are wonderful. They can be found on their own site, along with things like their t-shirts, and also on Vinegar Syndrome site, and you can pick them up on eBay as well in the UK, but they are usually a little expensive. So Spine number 1 is The Unknown Man of Chandigor. This is a French film from 1967, starring Daniel Emilfork amongst other people, who was in Jean-Pierre Jeunet and Marc Caro's City of Lost Children, and there's a couple of people that you'll recognise from Jeunet and Caro's first two films. And this is a wonderful black and white satire from 1967. You get slipcover and you get a booklet with all the Deaf Crocodile releases. This is just a wonderful film. This is one of the ones I did a random review on. Emilfork stars as a scientist who has created a device that neutralises all nuclear weapons. So you can, as you can imagine, lots of people want him and want the secret and want his device. And it has a wonderful jazzy score, and it's just such a joy if you want a little bit of offbeat spy action. Spine number 2 is one of the first animated titles, and one of the ones that I don't have the slipcover for. This is Delta Space Mission, and this is rather wonderful as well. This is from 1984, and this is Romanian, so most of their animations are like either Romanian or Hungarian or Danish or Russian. So this is just a wonderful little animated film, 1984, 72 minutes, but it's really enjoyable. There's usually lots of wonderful extras. Dennis Bartok, who's one of the co-founders of Deaf Crocodile, he usually does the interviews with people, but for example in this one there's a commentary by Kat Ellinger, and it's generally kind of interviews with the directors of the films. Number 3 is another title I don't have a slipcover for. This is Ilya Muromets, or The Sword and the Dragon, and this is the first one in the label of films by Alexander Pushko, who was called the Russian Disney, and they've announced there'll be another couple of Pushko films next year, which is fantastic. This is absolutely gorgeous. I did a random review of this. This is absolutely spectacular. And in the inner sleeve, it's pretty much a reproduction of the slipcover. So if you don't have the slipcover, you can always turn that around and pretend it's a slipcover. Or I suppose if you were technologically advanced, unlike me, you could probably create your own slipcover. But this is just absolutely fantastic. Just magical images that you will never forget. Just spectacular stuff. Number 4 in the Deaf Crocodile is the only box set so far, and this is from Iran. This is the Time-Bending Mysteries of Shahram Mokri. So this is a 4-film set. So you get Ashcan, The Charmed Ring and Other Stories, Fish and Cat, Invasion and Careless Crime. So these films, again, you get a booklet, and they each get their own disc, which is rather good as well. And this set takes the director interview to a whole nother level. So Ashcan, The Charmed Ring and Other Stories, which I would say is my favourite, which is from 2008, it's 92 minutes, and it's heavily inspired by Pulp Fiction. It's about a robbery by 3 blind guys, of course, and just how all the characters cross paths, and Mokri does kind of play about with time a lot in these films, hence the title of the box set. But there is a 225-minute interview with Mokri over the 4 discs. So it's a fairly extensive interview with the director, which is obviously fascinating because Iran isn't necessarily a country we hear a lot about as far as filmmaking and life in Iran. Obviously there's a more famous Iranian filmmaker. Disc 2 is Fish and Cat from 2013, which is 134 minutes, which Mokri in a couple of these films, they are single shot films, and Fish and Cat takes place round a lake. It's sort of Mokri's slasher film, even though it's completely not what you'd expect from a slasher film. Again, overlapping scenes shown from different characters' perspectives. Everything's in a loop. Again, I do feel that a couple of these films are a little bit overlong. They're perhaps examples of slow cinema, trance-like, and you have to kind of get into that trance. And if you don't, sometimes they're a little frustrating and a little overlong. But they're certainly films I think you'd have to watch multiple times, which is always good. Disc 3 is Invasion from 2017, which is 102 minutes. And this is set in the future, and again, this is about the police interviewing a suspect of a murder, but it plays out as a reconstruction, but also a construction of what actually happened, and the suspect changes from this group of sports players. It's also a low-key vampire film, and again, it's probably a film you really need to watch twice. Again, everything's in a loop, everything like different scenes featuring different people doing the same thing and from different perspectives. And then we have Careless Crime from 2020, which is 139 minutes. And this is based on the protests in 1978, pre-revolution, where cinemas were being burned down as they were a sign of Western society. Most of them, it was about 50 odd that were burned down in Tehran and other cities, but one of them famously was burned down with an audience actually in it, and it's never really been kind of found out who actually did it, whether it was the pro-revolutionaries, whether it was set up by the security forces at the time to blame the revolutionists. So it jumps from the event to 3 or 4 years later to the present, where people are outside showing the film that was playing while the incident happened, and again it crisscrosses. We see different conversations from different perspectives, even though it does have quite a powerful ending. I would say all these films at times can be a little frustrating, because as I said, I think 3 out of the 4 are probably a little bit over long. Again, it's that thing of slow cinema. Do you need it to be that slow, or could you just edit it a little bit better? But obviously some filmmakers kind of fall in love with the whole single shot thing, rather than does it actually need to be a single shot, obviously not a single take. But certainly interesting films, certainly films that I will watch again to try and get my head around them a little bit more, but well worth checking out. Number 5 is another Alexander Pushko. This is Sampo, which is a fairy tale, and it's absolutely wonderful. I think this is also called The Day the World Froze. It's from a Finnish fairy tale, but this is Pushko again. It's absolutely stunning. The production design, the effects, just the whole look of the film is just utterly stunning. Again, it's absolutely beautiful. Again, I did a random review of this. It's hard to tell. I think I did random reviews on most Deaf Crocodile releases. Number 6 is Zero Grad, which is a lovely little odd film. This is from 1988, I believe, and this is Russian, about a guy who comes into a little strange town and can't escape. That's a lot of fun. Next, number 7 is Solomon King. This is a blaxploitation film. It's perhaps one of the weaker films in the Deaf Crocodile catalogue, but it is fascinating because it's basically a businessman from Oakland who decided, yeah, I want to make a film, so he stars in it, directs it, It's the only film he ever made, from 1974. Again, it's pretty much about, I'm going to make a film, nobody's going to stop me, it's made, and you have to just love the passion of it. It's a solid blaxploitation film, but obviously it's low budget. The guy's name's Sal Watts, but the extras are wonderful. There's a 3-part video interview with his widow, which is just worth the price of admission, because she talks about how her dad showed all the children this picture of a group of white people, and there's a cross with a burnt corpse of a black guy, so that was their father's warning about what it's like to live in the south of America. It's a lot of fun. Again, it's not the greatest film ever made, but you just have to admire the passion behind it. So it is a worthy release, even if it's not the greatest film in the world. Next is another animation. This is The Son of the Stars, which again is just another wonderful, fun little animation about a child who's abandoned by his parents in a strange planet. This is from 1988 as well, and this is Romanian. This is the same people that did Delta Space Mission. I said Delta Space Force for some reason. And this is a lot of fun as well. Again, it's a 4K scan. It's just so enjoyable. It reminds you of the good old days. Number 9 is The Assassin of the Tsar. I think I did a random review of this as well. It's hard to remember. This stars Malcolm McDowell as somebody who claims to have assassinated 2 Tsars. He's in a mental hospital. This is from 1991. So there is an English language version of the film, which is 104 minutes, and there's a Russian language version of the film, which is 102 minutes. It's slightly differently edited. There's an hour-long interview with Malcolm McDowell, which is fantastic, and there's an hour-long interview with Karen Shararazov. That's a terrible pronunciation. Also stars Oleg Yankovsky, who you'll recognise from Tarkovsky films. And it's a really fascinating film. Again, does it work perfectly? Perhaps not. But it's a fascinating film, and a really, really good Malcolm McDowell performance. Number 10 is Time of Roses, and we're back to more time travelling hijinks. This is from 1969, and this is Finnish. And this is a future, about a future society, and again, lovely imagery. Then they do projects, and they're looking at what life was like in the 20th century, as this is in the future, and they're making a documentary, and it's an obsession about a character who died in 1977 in a car accident, and it's just awesome. Again, I can't even remember whether I did a review of it, but it's quite fantastic. Again, I'm not going to go into spoilers in these, because a lot of these films, it's just the joy of seeing them, because they're wonderful. Number 11 is The Tale of Tsar Saltan. Look at that slipcover. Not that I'm bothered with slipcovers. This is another Puchko masterpiece. I mean, this is just cinematic magic. Again, another fairy tale essentially. But blimey, these are fantastic. I could watch Puchko films all day long. This is from 1967. And this is obviously Russian. Again, there's a hour-long video with visual effects artist and film historian Robert Shotak, who did visual effects for Aliens and Terminator 2. There's commentaries. It's another absolutely ravishing looking film. And this is one of the best Deaf Crocodile releases. Next we have the first Deaf Crocodile I bought and was therefore hooked, Prague Nights, which I did a random review. I know I'm repeating myself, but I did do quite a lot of random reviews on Deaf Crocodile films. And again, this is a portmanteau that starts off in a cemetery, and this is absolutely gorgeous as well. And strangely enough, because it's Prague, this is in Czech. It's just absolutely wonderful. It's almost like a Czech Amicus film. There's a 45-minute interview with the daughter of the director, Jiri Breka. There's commentaries, there's some of his shorts, because that's another thing that Deaf Crocodile do quite well. They do add shorts and other work by the directors. Next is number 13, which is the Pied Piper. This is animation. There's no real reason this is in the plastic slipcase, but it's absolutely gorgeous. It's even more gorgeous than the slipcover. Not that I'm bothered about slipcovers. This is a wonderful film from 1986. It is only 53 minutes. It's from Czechoslovakia, but there's no dialogue. It's just kind of a made-up language with the characters. It's really dark, beautiful art style, and again, you get a restoration of the short film by Barta. Sorry, this is by Jiri Barta, I should have said. The Vanished World of Gloves, which is fantastic, which is 16 minutes long. There's a behind-the-scenes documentary, which is 13 minutes long. There's an interview with Barta, with Denis Bartok, and there's a commentary by Czech film expert, and there's a booklet. So even though the film itself is short, but it's one of those films you can watch and then watch again immediately with the commentary, because you want to revisit it, because it's just a beautiful film with a beautiful art style. Speaking of a beautiful film with a beautiful art style, this is number 14. This is Heroic Times. I mean, that is the art style of the film. It is like a watercolour painting come to life. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is from Hungary, from 1983. This is 79 minutes long, so it's pretty much a feature film, as opposed to Pied Piper, which is 53. It's just absolutely beautiful. Again, the art style is literally painterly, like watercolours, as I said. It's a 4K restoration by the NFI in Hungary. There's a commentary by Sam Dayan. There's 3 animated shorts by Joseph Hemes, who directed the film. Contadissimo, 1968, which is 3 minutes. Parade, which is 5 minutes. And Funeral, which is 3 minutes. And there's an interview with an animator moderated by Denis Bartok, and there's a new interview with Georgi Raduli, the director of the NFI in Hungary, also moderated by Denis Bartok. It's an absolute stunning film, absolutely beautiful. Next, number 15 is Visitors from the Arcana Galaxy. Honestly, I'm not making this stuff up. This is another corker. It's like a kids' film, but it's rather dark and odd and strange. From 1981. And this is Croatian. And it's wonderful. Again, it's just so odd and brilliant. And we also get 5 animated films from the same director, Dusan Jukovic. That's not his real name. Cow on the Moon, Piccolo, and 1001 Drawings, and The Substitute, and Ars Gratis Artis. So you get a bunch of short films as well. And again, it's just so wonderfully odd. These 2 little blonde children and this female character. It's got a hilarious monster in it as well. It's just rather fantastic. Number 16, which I've done a random review of, it's Cat City, which is basically exploring the relationship between cat and mice, but in an apocalyptic way. There's this set of rat assassins. It's bonkers but brilliant, and makes lots of socio-political points. Again, I've done a random review for this because it's absolutely wonderful. Again, you get animated shorts, also by Bela Ternowski, who directed it. And these are all fantastic. Modern Training Methods, Let's Keep a Dog, and Where is the Limit? There's a 23-minute interview with Tarnowski ahead of its time. There's a 25-minute video essay about Cat City, and we made it just for the fun of it. It's a half-hour piece from 2020, which again is another interview with Bernard Tarkovsky. This is from Hungary, and it leaves you hungry for more. And then finally, their most recent release is number 17, with this rather colourful slipcover, and this is Benny's Bathtub. Now this is the shortest release. This is only 41 minutes. It is from Denmark, and again it's a wonderful hand-drawn animation. The real world is black and white and rather concrete buildings and lifeless and grey. This one, you have 3 episodes of the Danish TV kids show Circling. The snow mouse Sammy goes flying and escape from America. And you get an hour-long interview with the animator by Dennis Bartok, and 2 audio commentaries, and the booklet has an essay. So it is the shortest release at 41 minutes. You'd probably better pick it up in a sale, but it's still a lot of fun about a boy who escapes his boredom and ends up with a magical tadpole that asks him to jump in the bath, and they go into a magical underwater world involving an octopus and a ticket collecting crab and saucy mermaids and things like that. So it's a lovely little film. I mean, we've all thought about it, the power of our bathtub. And then the release that you can pre-order on site, which I am now doing, because they do actually ship pretty quickly. And this was announced fairly recently, but it will be shipping out at the end of December. And this is going to be number 18, and this is The Mysterious Castle in the Carpathians, which I've also done a random review of, and this is my special collector's edition cardboard sleeve on DVD. But it's going to get the Deaf Crocodile treatment. Again, you can pre-order it now. It will be shipping out at the end of December, so I'm really looking forward to this, because I did a random review of this and this is a lot of fun as well. So looking forward to that, getting the Deaf Crocodile treatment. So apologies for saying random review every 2 minutes, but I do love some Deaf Crocodile, and I've got the t-shirt to prove it, and I also bought a polo shirt as well. I know, it's terrible. So please let me know if you've seen any of these Deaf Crocodile films and what's your favourite. And again, as I said, there's more Pushco films coming to Deaf Crocodile next year in 2024, so looking forward to that. So thanks very much for watching another episode of Backlog Cleared. This is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, saying farewell.